Welcome back to the For the Badge podcast. It's been a wild weekend in the league. Manchester City have smashed Bournemouth.
Gosh, they've been smashing Bournemouth. The last time they played these guys, they smashed Bournemouth.
But not a clean sheet. Not a clean sheet.
You can always count on it.
He says they always leak a goal.
What you think about this one, Lewis? Not a perfect performance. I'm going to nitpick as hard as I can go.
Well, if I'm taking pluses from it, I was glad to see Alvarez play under Holland. They should play together. I know I've been advocating for that for a while. They did. And there's actually a statistic that every time Holland and Alvarez play together, they both score. And imagine having that statistic at hand and then saying, you know what, I don't want to play them together. It's got to be the weirdest thing. Foden looked good as well. But Foden, which begs the question, what was going on during that lockout period? No De Bruyne. But it really was what it was. I mean, they're going to play, some guys to get form against whoever it is they're playing on Wednesday. They're going to smack them. And the reason they're going to smack them is because they need people to get form. And then on Saturday they play, or is it Sunday? Hold on. I looked at it just 2 seconds ago.
I was looking at it 2 seconds ago as well.
Newcastle. They play Newcastle, who is
hey, for real.
On Saturday. They play Newcastle on Saturday.
What's at the Etihad?
It's a 7:30 game, so that I think they'll be awake. I mean, Newcastle gave them some troubles last time they played, so which means Grealish for sure will start. I mean, I don't take anything. I don't take anything from the game, but because I've told you, man, they leak goals. I wish I was wrong about that, but it's always a dumb goal in there. And they're inconsistent, man. Happy for Holland to have the team's single season record goal tally at 27. He'll probably score 35 goals this year, give or take, but I think 35 will probably be his number. He made the FIFA 11, and he really accomplished a lot of the stuff that he wanted as far as coming into the Prem. It's a matter of what they look like playing forward. I don't know. I really don't know what City is going to show up, because even though Pep looks like he kind of got it, I always look at the opponent. I really do. And you can look super duper world class against a mediocre team, and then you play a bad team and you look terrible. I don't really know what it is. I mean, I think the Newcastle game they'll get up because they're top four, so I think they'll win. Even though we're not in predictions, I think they'll win the game. But then I don't know how they'll win the game, and it makes it weird. So I don't know. It didn't give me any new hope. I mean, they played a couple of new guys. They played an Argentine kid, and they played another kid, and they both looked pretty decent. Rico Lewis looked good in the game, but Rico. I mean, it is what it is.
Perone. Huh? I had never heard of Maximo Perone.
Yeah, they just signed him. He just came in January.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
I just want to say we all sound so down right now. Even Lewis sounds down.
Well, I mean, the Chelsea segment really brought us.
It's a drag. It's a drag.
Really a sad one. Yeah, but
it is.
I thought that City, as far as tactically, finally figured out what to do without De Bruyne. And it's easy to say that when you win 4-1 and it's Bournemouth. But again, credit to you, Lewis. It's Alvarez. Alvarez came in and was the one that was combining with Gundogan, combining with Foden. Grealish did his cut in and get fouled thing. That's what that's his thing.
Did he cross it? Nope.
But I thought that obviously in front of goal you were better, but as far as using Foden and Gundogan and Alvarez as and Lewis all put together to be De Bruyne and do what he does, maybe is a bit of a labored tactical approach. But I thought that, and again, it's Bournemouth, but I thought that it was sufficient, efficient as well. But you can see Akanji was pissed when y'all gave the goal up. Like,
if you just look at the goals that City have allowed in over just this season, they're over 60% of them are stupid, and you're just like, what is this, man? So it's 60% of them are stupid, and you're just like,
honestly, you want to know what the Bournemouth's goal was, and it as a fan, you don't want to hear this, but they're up 4-0. They're like, this is dusted. We're whatever. We're just gonna take the foot off. We're just whatever. We're just gonna coast the rest of this game because we've won. Oh, my guy run past me. Whatever. We're up 4 goals. That's what it looked like.
But if we think about that same tactic caused the draw at
Forest? No, it wasn't Forest.
Last week.
Leipzig.
No, it was Forest.
Oh.
It caused the draw at Forest. It caused a draw in another game too, because they take their feet off the gas. Old City from last year, and I know it's not last year, so I'm not revisionist, but there's no way that you see a team and you're like, hey, we can score more goals, and they're like, we don't feel like scoring. You score until they stop you. I live in the world where it's not my job to stop scoring. It's your job to stop me. And so until that happens, you're running up the score. I don't care. You professionals, right? Stop me.
Yep.
How many 5-0s did y'all hand out last season?
Exactly. And you stop me. I'm not stopping me.
I think one of them was to Arsenal, so if I recall correctly.
I like the anger, Lewis. I like the anger.
Well, because the thing about it is, you guys know where I stand. I mean, I care about the league? Yeah. But do I really know? We all know what we want. I mean, we all know what we want. And so you got to find consistency. And Guardiola is notorious for saying, you know what? It's a greater challenge to win the league than the Champions League, because the Champions League is only 7 games. And I get what he's saying, but at the same time, Chelsea is the epitome of it. Real Madrid is the epitome of it. You got to have some form going into them things. And if you don't have any form, look what they did against Leipzig.
You're
going man.
Punished.
Come on, man.
Punished.
I understand what he's saying about the longevity of the league, but as good as the Premier League is, the quality of the Champions League as at such a higher level. Didn't you just send us the meme about, are we the farmers?
Are we?
Yes.
Is the Premier League teams in the Champions League the farmers? Because they all did not look good. And so I think that I was thinking to myself earlier today.
Next year.
Oh no, let's not get ahead of ourselves. You might be talking about Chelsea won't be there
next year. No.
Arsenal's gonna be taking that spot, but I think that oh God, what was I saying?
Are we the farmers?
Bum 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 bum.
No, you said none of us look good.
No, I had a point about. Oh yeah. So earlier I was thinking, this is the first moment in the season, like this last week or so, where I was like City are kind of dropping off. Like I feel like I've been saying it for weeks. You've heard me. I'd be like, man, they're coming. That 12 game is coming. It's coming. This is the very first moment in the season where I'm like, maybe it ain't coming, because we're getting down to it. There's 13. City have played 25 times. There's 13 Premier League games left for City. There's 14 for Arsenal, and we play on Wednesday, our game in hand. So this is the we're getting there. It's the business end, and we haven't seen that 12 game run from City yet. I know there's 12 games left, but like I say, first time in the season where I'm like, man, I don't know. You know, I hate to say it, but United are resurgent, and they're coming right behind City, and it's
The quad.
oh god. But I just, you know, like I say, it's
You're not getting poor.
you know, I don't know. Maybe that's just hope, and
I think next week will be your. I think next week would prove you to either be 100% right or a little bit hopefully wrong.
well, we play Bournemouth, so we
I'm
play
saying
and
You play
I'm-
Everton and then you play Bournemouth, right?
well, I'm saying with City playing Newcastle and them being not as hungry as you think that they should be, if Newcastle stands them up and they go 0-0, or 1-1, if Newcastle really does what Newcastle's supposed to be doing, which is drawing games, not letting goals in. If they stand City up and they don't show up for that and they look lackadaisical, and y'all are gonna smash Bournemouth, and no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I think it's gonna be 2 rough weeks for Bournemouth. I feel sorry for them. I feel so bad for them. But I think that'll be a telltale sign if you're somewhat right, because that'll be a good chance for you guys to off and separate yourself with some points.
Oh, and just a little pushback on it. I don't think that they lack hunger. I think they're not focused. There's no focus. Like everything, it's like they're the ADD kid. And nothing wrong with that because I know what it's like, and I'm as a teacher I get that.
Yeah. No,
But they're looking at everything, man. And the thing is, there's so many moving parts, and it's just so weird for them because they're like, oh well, we're City, and everybody thinks we're gonna win the Champions League. So it's so many shiny things happening, and it's just weird because even though, like for example, the FIFA Pro 11 came out or whatever, and what Holland, De Bruyne, and Cancelo were in the team, and even though Cancelo's not on the team, they were in the team. I mean, you wonder what that does to their psyches, their head, going forward because it's I just think they're not focused, man. And and I think initially that whole investigation thing, their reaction to it was one where you're like, okay, they're awake. But I think there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes where they're just not focused, man. And I almost want to blame the World Cup. I'm not going to blame it, but I want to blame that because we haven't really talked about the hangover from the World Cup. But there's a hangover there, man. And so I don't know what comes from that.
Well,
yeah,
I
so-
also see.
interruption. Sorry, go ahead, Patrick.
No, you go for it. You go first.
Complete interruption of the league is so unprecedented, where these guys have a mindset coming in for the longevity. Jake just hit on it when he got done. He said the longevity of the league, like having to go the full course. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You can sprint through certain parts, but it is a complete marathon to win this thing. Team with all the cups, with all the domestic, with all of Europe. If you're playing and all of that, that is a marathon to start winning some of these things, especially some like you're to win both the Champions League and your domestic league. That takes some serious planning and some serious, asking players to play beyond that. Then you throw probably one of the most important tournaments of any player's life smack dab in the middle of that. To go from those two different mindsets, I think would be extremely difficult to have that interruption of your domestic, the role that it takes to get this, it's a snowball is what I'm kind of getting at, to build on that and to really get that momentum to where nothing's going to stop it. Doesn't matter if we lose a game, we're so big now, we have so many points now, nothing, we're first, we're second, we're third, we're top four, those. It's just, I think the complete interruption of that is what I was trying to hint at with the World Cup. Like, I think you're right.
Well, I'll take it a step further. I think part of the issue is that City has been so focused on the Champions League that they almost kind of, I don't want to say they gave up the league because I don't think that's the case at all, but I think that they came into the season on the league side a little cocky, thinking that, oh, we're going to run it again. And Arsenal comes and has an amazing start. And it's like, oh, okay, well, we got to give some effort now, and it's too much. It's the saying they say in soccer games sometimes. You're in between two mindsets, and it feels like that's a little bit what's going on right now. City wants to be focused on the Champions League, but they're like, well, we still have a chance at the league too, so they can't get back to that focus. And I do think some of that World Cup also plays a role in it, because you've got some guys who, they gave it their all for their country. They had a week, maybe 2 weeks off, and it's like, okay, got to go back to the club. Okay, we got to start focusing on the league again. Okay, we got to start focusing on Champions League. And I think that's why last week was so surprising on the City side of things with the Leipzig result, because you didn't expect that. What you see, what City has been building towards this season specifically, they kind of laid an egg. And
kind of. They did.
Well, yeah. I mean, you didn't lose, but you didn't win. You got to draw. You got to draw.
Let's be honest.
It does feel like a loss, but I'm just saying, you come back and you got a chance to still, win it at home. So it's not as bad as it could have been. But my point being is, when you set out in a season, that's kind of like we talked about with Nketiah in terms of him potentially hitting a wall. When you set out in a season with a mindset of Champions League, Champions League, Champions League, and then you start to revert your focus a little bit towards, well, we want to win the league now. That two mindsets can lead to guys shutting off in games for whatever reason. And it's up to Pep to figure it out and say, okay, we're going to do this. I mean, we saw it. I mean, if you think about it, we saw it in the No One Cares Cup. They shut off against Southampton.
Yeah. That was like the first kind of cracks running up the wall, I feel like, was that Southampton game.
You know a funny thing, Patrick? I'm gonna double down on your point about they got cocky in the league. This is where actually I think the league is also running into a problem for City. So you have Arsenal on a historic run. They're on an amazing run. Again, credit to them. And here's what problem comes up. When it was time to play Arsenal, they beat them both times.
Yeah.
If they had lost one of those games, they focus. But they beat them both times. So now they're like, well, we can beat them. And so at that point, now you're cocky again. The cocky never went away, because the best team, and I would say Arsenal's the best performing team in the league this season. When they were faced with them, they beat them. And not only did they beat them, Arsenal played well for sure. And if we're talking about 4 total periods, they played well for 3 of those 4 periods.
Yep.
And they beat them in both of them.
They just got punished.
So at that point, you're like, when we're tested, we win.
Yeah.
So it's worse.
I think you're right then. That's the mentality thing. It's the focus thing. Leipzig is an Arsenal.
Yeah.
And a side thing, if you think about it, in the 2 games that they played Arsenal, in the second one, I picked City to win. But the first one, no, I picked a draw. But the first one, I picked Arsenal to win. Yep. I actually wanted Arsenal to win that game, because I knew because now they're and that was the FA Cup game. Now they got to keep playing there. They can't focus, because they're like, oh, we beat them. And it just, they had to, I felt like they had to lose to Arsenal early, because if you lose to them early, it's easier to focus later, because now you're hungry. But now going into the third Arsenal game, when they play in
April
they play in May.
April 26th, my birthday.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's funny because will it even playing Arsenal then, if they beat Arsenal, then will it even matter at that point? Will it even matter?
I hope not.
It might not even matter. And so that means that the win, it didn't do nothing. And so all that arrogance, it was empty.
Yeah. I think that as far as we keep talking about what's it going to take to lift Chelsea a little bit, I think all it will take is smash Leipzig at home 3-0. You're through, and the thing is, April is that's where we all play each other again. That's
Yep.
where all the big teams have to play each other again. Arsenal have to go to Anfield still this season. We still have to go to the Bridge, or I think Chelsea has to come to. Did we play?
We have to go to the Emirates.
Oh, we
Oh,
do?
Never mind.
Oh, I
Oh,
thought we had
That's-
them at Bridge.
They came to us.
Okay.
but
I thought they came to us. That was
there's
the whole
there's still some games in there in April for sure. Obviously, the game at the Etihad, Arsenal go there late April, but absolutely. Well, I think on that note, we will go ahead and wrap it right there. This has been the For the Badge podcast. I'm certainly glad you're here listening. I know I've had a good time. Hope you have as well. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, get the notification bell on. We got plenty more coming at you. Have a good night.